Another record-setting day for active cases and patients on ventilators. Here are the latest numbers according to the Arkansas Department of Health. Over the past 24 hours, 2,238 new cases of COVID were reported. That's the second highest number since the pandemic began. That brings the total number of active cases to nearly 17,000, which is a record. Hospitalizations now stand at 899. That's down 2. 148 Arkansans are on ventilators, also a record, and up 3 from the day before. 22 deaths were added, bringing the total in the state to 2,297. Governor Asa Hutchinson also announced today that bars and restaurants licensed to sell alcohol must now close at 11 o'clock. He also said that he will address the high number of cases at a news conference which is scheduled for tomorrow. Meanwhile, after nearly 300 Arkansas doctors sent a letter to the governor urging him to enforce mask mandates and implement other guidelines, Hutchinson responded with his own letter. Our Alexis Wainwright following this story and spoke to one of the doctors tonight about the governor's response.
The amount of doctors that signed this shows just how important this is to them. I spoke with one of the doctors tonight who says they do take care of people who are sick, but they also have a responsibility to keep people from getting sick, and that's exactly why they're speaking out.
I feel like we need to do something more. This pandemic's a problem.
Dr. Brian Burton talks about his frustrations on how the state is handling the coronavirus pandemic.
I felt like there is a lack of involvement kind of from our government at many levels, but I think that it needs to be addressed.
He's just one of the doctors who signed a letter to Governor Asa Hutchinson explaining that they're, quote, seeing ICUs full of COVID-19 patients, and that something needs to be done about the state's COVID-19 situation.
So I think really the only way to control it is to take some drastic steps for a short time. Even a short time is going to make a difference. You know, I think a 6-week shutdown is a long time, and I'm not saying that's what we need to do.
The doctors are asking Governor Asa Hutchinson to enforce a mask mandate, close bars and gyms, and restrict indoor gatherings bigger than 10 people. Restaurants already have a limited capacity, and gyms are required to maintain 12 feet apart while working out. Thursday, Governor Asa Hutchinson announced an 11 p.m. closing time for all businesses licensed to sell alcohol starting Friday until January 3rd. He also released a letter where he lays out the steps that the state has taken during the pandemic, but still he gave no indication if he will implement any more restrictions on businesses or travel in the state.
As physicians, we see this. We deal with this every day, and we see patients every day with these problems, and we know it's real. People in the community don't know it's real because they're not seeing it.
Further into his letter, when talking about the mask mandate, Hutchinson said, quote, the mandate does provide a $500 fine after the first warning, and local law enforcement is responsible for the enforcement of this mandate. And he ends the letter saying, quote, please be assured I share your commitment to slowing the spread of COVID-19 in Arkansas. I recognize the importance of maintaining our hospital capacity.
Clearly, we wouldn't be seeing a spike if there was no change.
Burton says these current mandates aren't enough. People are still coming together.
Football games are still happening. Basketball season is still happening. And we're seeing these numbers go up. Yeah, there's more you can do.
Burton says this is just one of those times where you have to do the right thing and not the easy thing. Both him and Hutchinson have said it comes down to personal responsibility. Alexis Wainwright, back to you.
All right, Alexis, thank you. The business interruption grant is now open for applications. Listen carefully. Arkansas small businesses that have 250 or fewer full-time employees may seek reimbursement for expenses impacted by COVID-19. The grant will provide reimbursement for a portion of specific eligible expenses by businesses in the personal care, tourism, travel, recreation, and hospitality industries between March 1st and September 30th of this year. The grant application period will close Wednesday, November 25th. Grants can be for up to $250,000 each. For more information, go to our website, fox16.com.